Welcome to the Teapot Reads. My name's Sam. I'm the Teapot. This is what I'm currently reading, and I'm so happy to see you today. I tend to tell people I don't read nonfiction because I very rarely find myself reaching for nonfiction, and it wasn't until I was older that I even considered it an actually valuable thing to read. I've always just been more a fan of novels, like sci-fi, fantasy, even classics. But I have in the last like 8 months or so kind of found myself turning to a lot more nonfiction and enjoying it either as like my main read or just reading a couple chapters or a couple pages every night before I go to bed. So I thought it'd be interesting, since I've been buying more nonfiction and reading more nonfiction, to do a sort of tour of my collection of nonfiction, and I was very surprised by how much I had, because let's see, okay, I might have miscounted, but it's like about 30 nonfiction books, which I didn't think I had that many. And as I was pulling them from my shelves, I was like, oh wow, I forgot I had this one, so we're going to go through all of them. I haven't read most of them, I will say that. So first of all, we have Blind Spot by Teju Cole. This is a very cool book. I had to read it for a class on creative nonfiction writing, and basically there are these sort of photos paired up with little texts, and it's definitely nonfiction with like the creative lens applied heavily to it. But these are basically the pictures that don't make it to print. These are the blind spots that we don't look at, and that is absolutely what it's about. Like the people we don't look at, the things we don't see, everything that's like in the corner of our eye that we cannot like recognize and that we choose not to look at. It's a very cool book. It's super moving. It's hard to say that these are nice photos because they're not. A lot of them are ugly, but that's intentional. Like they look just a little bit off. Some of them are very lovely. Like I think this is a really nice photo. But then you have this one, and this looks like a draft, like something that wasn't going to make it to the final cut, but is literally the final cut of this book. So, Blind Spot by Teju Cole, I definitely recommend it, especially if you're interested in mixed medium stories, or storytelling, I should say, because it's not really a story. It's very cool though, and I should probably reread it because it's been a while since I've read this one. It's very cool. And actually, let me just read you New York City real quick because it's short. So here's the photo, kind of cloudy and blurry, and the text says, and in this case it was the real city that seemed to be matching, point for point, my memory of the model, which I had stared at for a long time from a ramp in the museum. So yes, very cool little book. Then we have, so most of these aren't organized, I just pulled them off my shelf, and they're in the order that I pulled them off my shelf. So these next several are like coffee table books, and I wasn't sure if art books were counted as nonfiction, but I am counting them as nonfiction because I think they are. I think that's safe to say. They're in the nonfiction area of stores. This is not an art book, but it's similar. This is Hamilton, The Revolution. This is, you know, the book about the musical. I do like Hamilton quite a bit, and this is just a cool book. It has, you know, it has the music and like notes, and then it has like essays, lots of art. It is a cool book. I have never actually read the entire thing. I should, because I feel like I would really appreciate it a lot. It is just a really cool book, and it's printed on really nice paper. Like it's nice thick paper, which I really appreciate. And it's just got a lot of really cool like artifacts in here, behind the scenes, etc. Here's like actual historical memorabilia. We have a picture of the actual Reynolds pamphlet right there. So yes, Hamilton, The Revolution by Lin-Manuel Miranda and Jeremy McCarter. It's a very cool book. It's only the only theater behind the scenes book I have, because I don't know, a lot of the shows that I really like are more like, I don't think they make those books anymore, or if they do, like they're not like, I haven't seen them anywhere. Like Wicked, Phantom. I don't think there are like books like this for them. If there are, I would love to be proven wrong. But I don't think there are. But when I was pulling this, actually, I don't have a lot of plays, but I have a handful. So if you'd be interested in seeing my collection of plays, I would do that. I think that would be cool because I have a handful, and I would also probably just throw in my like playbills and memorabilia like that in there because I think that'd be really interesting. Oh, so this book I 100% bought because of how it looks, and that's the Stranger Things Worlds Turned Upside Down. It's the official behind the scenes companion for seasons 1 and 2, I think. It's made to look like an old library book. Like, it's got like the sticker, it's got the sealant, it looks like it's like ripping, and then it's just really cool. You take off the cover, and you have this book, which is just gorgeous. Very cool book. But then on the inside here, you have, look at that, isn't that awesome? And then just the whole book on the inside, it looks, you know, like an old book condition. Fair. It is just so cool and so well done. I've not read this one. I don't know if I will. I really liked Stranger Things season 1, but I did not love other things. I didn't love season 2. Another really cool thing is, so the book is, you know, done right side up, but then you get to the section on the upside down, and you have to read it this way. I love that. I think that's a nice feature. This book is just like very cool and very well made. It's just a cool book. That's why I bought it. Not the biggest fan. It's just cool. And I got this at Target many years ago. Okay, so art books. I am counting them as nonfiction because a lot of times they go into behind the scenes, and this is the Art of the Dragon Prince. I believe this is just the first 3 seasons because that's all that's out so far. It is very cool. It is not my favorite art book that I've ever seen. Like, it's very cool, but there's just not a lot of writing, and I was hoping for a little more behind the scenes, I think. Visually, it is cool. Look at these. We've got the creatures of Zadia. Like, that's cool. It's very cool. But I think I was hoping for a little bit more when I had seen it advertised. It's still very interesting. I flip through it occasionally. I will say, oops. I love the map at the back. I love the map. If you've not watched The Dragon Prince, you should. It's really good storytelling. Probably my favorite animated show to come out since Avatar in terms of storytelling prowess. Like, it's just great. Oh my goodness. This book is so cool. I lost the dust jacket for this, but my grandfather gave it to me a while ago. This is Mysteries of the Unexplained. It's a Reader's Digest book, and it's from a long time ago at this point. It's from 82. And it's definitely super dated. But it has articles of like weird things happening. And it just kind of like reprints the articles here. And it is very cool. I used to be obsessed with this book. So like the sections, the categories it has, because it has quite a few. It does like, so it's got Beyond the Walls of Time, which is prophecies, anomalies, coincidences, unearthly fates, including spontaneous human combustion. There's a whole 14 pages dedicated to spontaneous human combustion, inexplicable crimes and assaults, appearances and disappearances, monsters and more, so monsters, spectral incursions, so ghosts, they just mean ghosts, the unquiet sky, strange things from above, unidentified flying objects, atmospheric and astronomical oddities, in the realm of miracles, cures and immunities, and signs and wonders. It's very cool. Some of the articles are really long. Some of them are really short. Bigfoot's in here. Just a lot of weird stuff. Ghost cars, ghost buses, aliens. Like, it's just really a neat book. Like I said, I was obsessed with this. I'm still a little obsessed with it. I haven't really read through it in a while. I definitely never read the entire thing because that would just be too much. I flipped through it and read quite a few articles. Here's one. So there's this dollar bill. The above dollar bill, issued in Dallas only 2 weeks before JFK was killed there, is now known as the Kennedy Assassination Bill. Since Dallas is the location of the 11th and 12th Federal Reserve Bank districts, the bill bears the letter K, the 11th letter of the alphabet, and the number 11 appears in each corner. The serial number begins with K and ends with an A, standing for Kennedy Assassination. 11 also stands for November, the 11th month of the year. 2 11s equal 22, the date of the tragedy. And the series number is 1963, the year the assassination occurred. So this is great for conspiracies and conspiracy theorists. It's a cool little book. I don't know if they've like made another one, like an updated one. If they did, I would love to get my hands on that. Okay, so then we have another art book. I backed a Kickstarter for this book. And this is the Art of Haikala, I think, Works and Thoughts. So this is a little bit, it tells about her art experience. I found her through Twitter, I think. She just has gorgeous art. This is one of my favorite possessions because it's so pretty. Look at that. Her art gives me major Kiki's Delivery Service vibes. A witch. And just Ghibli vibes in general. And it's really, really soft and gentle and very joyous to me. I love just how calm it makes me feel. I wish I could own everything she's ever arted. And then we have, like, in the middle, we've got pages from her sketchbooks, which is really cool. Yeah. Here's another one. Very nice book. I don't know if you can still get this. I don't know if it was a Kickstarter exclusive. Not sure. Hopefully it wasn't. Hopefully people can still pick it up because I love this book and I strongly recommend it. Then we have, this is a book that brings me so much joy. And I will just open it and look at it when I need to feel that joy. And that is Biblios Style. This is literally just pictures of people's bookcases and book collections. And there are articles in here where they like talk about them. I've never read it, but I flip through it all the time because it just makes me feel at peace. If you're a book lover, I recommend it. If you're watching this channel, you probably are. But if you're like a book collector, I recommend this because you get to peer in at people's collections. And they do talk about why they've collected certain things. And there's one in particular that I love to stare at. Where is it? God, there's so many. It's like feasting. Opening this up and looking at it is like a feast. Oh, here we go. Okay. So, Coralie Bickford Smith, the famous Coralie Bickford Smith who designs the Penguin Clothbound Classics as well as other things, she's in here. So, look at that. I love this. I love this. And then we get to see... Oh my god, are you ready for this? I wasn't ready when I opened it. I was like, I was not ready. Look at her collection. I want to steal it. They're just so pretty. The other pictures just may as well show you. This is so cool, isn't it? I love it. I think it's just the coolest thing that we get a peek in at people's at bookcases. Someday I hope to have a legendary bookshelf and book collection like these guys. And then finally, for like the coffee table sized books, we have another art book, and this is my most recent acquisition for like coffee table books. This is the Toil Bound Hana Cocoon art book. I love Hana Cocoon. This is one of my favorite series right now, and it is just cute. Just really cute. It's just art. I flipped through it. Oops. I don't think it's one I'll find myself returning to a lot because there's not like a lot to return to, but I do still really enjoy it. And they have one of my favorite pictures in here. Here we go. Full size and in color. The glare is making it hard, I'm sorry. But they just look so happy and cheerful. So I love that. Okay. So yeah, the rest of these aren't really in any order except how I pulled them off my shelves. So we're just gonna start. So first we have Fox and I, An Uncommon Friendship by Catherine Raven. This is an arc. I picked it up at work. I think it's just about her relationship with a fox, which not like a necessarily close, intimate relationship, but she's forming her memoir and shaping it around her relationship with this fox. And yeah, I mean, that's really it. That's the long and short of it. I am excited to read this because I've found myself really drifting towards, of all nonfiction, more nature writing than anything else. So I did grab this from work because I was like, oh, free arc, may as well. I am really excited to read this. It may not be for a while, but when I do, I probably will annotate it. I have recently found a lot of pleasure in annotating arcs because I don't feel like I'm damaging the book in the same way. Another piece of nature writing, also memoir, is Late Migrations by Margaret Renkl. So this is a series of essays. I believe it's really based on her taking care of her parents, and also at the time when she was a child and her parents taking care of her. So like a full circle wheel of life type thing. It does have art in it, which I think is really cool. And I do love this cover. I think this is a really neat cover. This is one that I think has to be read outside in the summer because I think that's the best way to probably read it. I am actually really excited for this one. I kind of just picked it up on a whim because it was one of the pick of the months at work, but I think I'm going to love this one. Something tells me. Oh, this one I picked up a while ago. I got this in when I was studying abroad, actually, and I started reading it, which is why there's a bookmark in it. Pretty little bookmark. But I didn't finish or get very far. I got 80 pages in, and I don't remember anything about it. But this is Night Walking by Matthew Beaumont. This is 100% a book I would love to read. It's about like Dickens and who else? Shakespeare, Chaucer, William Blake. Basically, they would go on walks at night, and the author, Matthew Beaumont, is cataloging London through these night walks. I'm really excited. I'm going to take the bookmark out so I can actually use the bookmark. I like made a permanent, and it's been it's been a long time since I picked this up. I'm very excited. I don't know when I'm going to read this. This feels wintry, but I'm not going to read it this winter. I'm fairly certain. But yes, it has a subtitle. Hold on. A Nocturnal History of London, Chaucer to Dickens. How cool. What a cool book. I actually picked this up. The school I attended when I was abroad was Queen Mary University, and I picked this up at their on-campus bookstore. Piece of memorabilia. Oh, okay. So here is Devil in the White City by Eric Larson. I live in the Chicago suburbs, and I've never read Devil in the White City, and it's kind of like a crime. It's like one of the quintessential Chicago books. But I don't know. I have put it off for so long. I do have it. It's about the Chicago World Fair of the Columbian Exposition, so 1893, and it's like supposed to be amazing. I've just put it off. I've never read any Eric Larson. If I like this, though, I'll probably pick up more of his stuff. One of my coworkers absolutely adores him. Some of these are nice short chapters, too. I didn't realize that. I've never flipped through it before. I just kind of bought it because I was like, I should have this. Oh, it has a map. Oh, very cool. It's got a couple maps. Devil in the White City. This is a book I'm going to read for a larger, longer video I will be working on. I won't probably get to that video for a while, though. Or you won't get to see that video for a while. I've actually already started working on it, but it is many years down the line. You're never gonna know what it is. Anyway, this is Nickel and Dimed on Not Getting By in America by Barbara Ehrenreich. It is, she's a journalist, I believe. This is the 20th anniversary edition. This has been out for a while. She basically went and tried to live on, I believe, minimum wage and wrote about her experiences. And those experiences probably haven't changed much in the 20 years since this book has been out. You just can't do it. This is going to be a very heavy read. She visits a couple places, so Minnesota, Florida, maybe it's just, oh, Maine. I think those 3. Maybe she visits more than those, but those are like the major sections. I know this is going to be a heavy read. I'm so excited for this, though. I feel like this should be necessary reading for everyone in America. Like, teach it in high school. I haven't even read it, and I think that, so. This is, I just bought this. I'm so excited about this. My minor is in film studies, and recently just like rekindled my love for film studies type reading. And so I picked up Shooting Midnight Cowboy by Glenn Frankel. This is about the movie about the movie Midnight Cowboy. I mean, all I know is that it's about the making of the movie, and like it was a hard movie to make, and it's a dark movie. And so I'm excited. I'm excited to just read this. It feels like it's going to be a good book, and I will probably pair it with a rewatch of Midnight Cowboy. I also love the spine. I think it's such a cool spine. I love it. I'm very excited to dive into that. I'll probably actually read that sooner than later because I just have this urge to read film things again. I don't know why. It hit me. It hit me like a month ago, and I was like, oh shit. Diving down that hole again. Most of my like film reading were articles given to me at school or in textbooks and stuff, so I don't have any other books anymore, I don't think, because I did also sell back a lot of school books. So this is probably the only film book I have at the moment. Then we've got The View from the Cheap Seats by Neil Gaiman. This is a collection of his speeches and essays, I believe. I've never read this. I do really like Neil Gaiman's writing. I just kind of picked it up because I like his writing, but I don't know when I'll be reading this. It's not a high priority for me at all. So it's here, but it's going to be a while. On the reverse end, I have Amanda Palmer's The Art of Asking. This book was super, super influential for me when I listened to it. So I had to pick it up. And I don't know if it would still be as influential if I read it now. Also, ticket stub from when I got to see her perform. I don't know if it would still be super influential to me now, so I haven't considered rereading it. This is a self-help type book and also a memoir. I just really needed it when I read it. So I don't see myself ever getting rid of this book because it helped me out a lot at that time. But I also don't think I ever see myself rereading it. Could be wrong. Okay, these next 2 books were very much TikTok made me buy it. So I'm really excited for both of these. It's probably going to be a long time before I get to them, though. So first is Just Kids by Patti Smith. This is a memoir by Patti Smith. This book is supposed to be freaking amazing. And it's a first... I think she's written a couple memoirs. I feel like when I read this, I'm going to feel so freaking pretentious. But that's kind of why I bought it. Not gonna lie. And then the other one also is gonna make me feel super pretentious. But again, TikTok made me buy it. And my heart, because sadly Joan Didion passed away just a couple days ago, actually. But this is the White Album. I'm fairly certain it's nonfiction. I think it's a memoir. Maybe a little creative nonfiction and essays. But I think it's nonfiction. Yeah, Joan Didion. Here we go. This is the UK edition because I just liked it better than the American cover. So it says it's a legendary journey into the hinterland of the American psyche. So I think that probably sounds like a good description for it. It's about the 60s, the late 60s, I believe. Yeah, the White Album. I'm really excited to read this. I should probably get to it sooner than later because, you know, why not? Again, though, will feel so freaking pretentious when I read this, and I kind of can't wait. Here is one I picked up because a coworker really loved it, and this is The Stranger in the Woods, The Extraordinary Story of the Last True Hermit by Michael Finkel. I don't know much about this. I think it's a guy who left sort of civilization as we know it and kind of lived as a hermit and then returned. So he didn't die out there, but it's about a guy who kind of lived his life in very much his own way. This is going to be an interesting book. I don't know how I feel about that kind of lifestyle. Like, it's definitely not for me. But I think this is going to be a really interesting book and give me a lot of new perspectives on life. I also feel like this is not a book I'm going to end up keeping forever, but will probably hand off to my brother. Something tells me. This sounds like a book my brother would really like. Ooh, a travel book. I want to read more travel literature in the new year. That's really important to me. And I'll probably start with Pico Ivor's Autumn Light, Season of Fire and Farewells. So this is about his time in Japan, or some of his time in Japan. And it's right after his father-in-law's sudden death, and just dealing with that, and also this country. And I'm very excited. I actually found out about this book right around when the Olympics happened. Is this the same publisher? Oh my god. I think it is the same publisher. I noticed because their formatting is so similar. Oh, weird. Okay. But it just around the Olympics, the Japan Olympics, I was looking for Japanese books to order into the store, and I saw this and I was like, that sounds good. And then I didn't pick it up until a couple months later. I'm still really excited about it. I hope I enjoy it. This will be my first real foray into travel writing that isn't like nature travel writing. Pico Ivar, Autumn Light. He's written a couple books about Japan, I believe. This book was another one that's super influential, and I actually still think about a lot. And I think it's probably really important and a really good gift. This is Adulting: How to Become a Grown-Up in 468 Easy-ish Steps by Kelly Williams Brown. This book is fantastic and has a lot of really good advice that I read it in college, early college, and wasn't fully able to grasp all of it, but I still, like, I'm 25 now, I think back on it all the time. It is great. It's a great book to get someone who's graduating. It is a great book to get someone who's turning like 25. Like, it has great advice, like cleaning advice, moving advice, how to keep friends, relationships, money advice. It is the most helpful book I've ever read. I think there's an updated edition. I should probably buy that. I did annotate this back when I read it. Fantastic, and just solid advice, and it doesn't talk down to you. It's like, this is what you should check for when you're getting an apartment. Make sure all the outlets work. Make sure the water works. Like, it's really, really thoughtful and great. I love it. Oh, we get to go into some of my Robert McFarlane books. I love Robert McFarlane. Has my heart. So we have Underland. This is about trees and roots, I think. I haven't read this one yet. I'm super excited. Anything he writes, I will read. This is probably the one he's probably most well known for, especially in America. But I haven't read this one yet. I actually started with something else. Underland. Then we have Ghost Ways. This is also by Stanley Donwood and Dan Richards. This is two actually shorter essays. And there's art. There's art in this one. So the essays are Ness and Holloway. And I've heard really good things about Holloway. So I'm excited to read this. I don't know if it'll be soon. Oh my god, just flipping through it makes me so excited for this book. I love another Robert McFarlane. Okay, this is The Old Ways. This is definitely the next one of his I'll probably read. I don't even know what it's about. I do not care. Give me more of your wonderful writing, sir. I think he's one of the authors I would adore to meet in person. There are a lot of authors that I think it'd be cool to meet them, but I would go out of my way to meet Robert McFarlane, I think. Okay, here we have The Regency Revolution by Robert Morrison. This book is really cool. It is about the Regency period and just frames it really nicely. I got this for research for something, and I have kind of taken a break from it, but it is really interesting, and I kept finding parallels between the Regency period and modern, like right now. There's a lot of correlations. History certainly repeats itself. Landmarks by Robert McFarlane. Oh my god, I've been reading this. This is one of the best books I've ever had the pleasure to read. It is amazing on every level. It is one long sort of book, but it's really just a series of essays about different parts of the UK. Mostly it does talk about other regions of the world, but it's set in the UK. And each chapter is dedicated to sort of one of these regions, and then it has a glossary of place names and place words at the end of each chapter. And there's this through line of language and naming, and the importance of language and the importance of writing. And this book, I've teared up so many times while reading it in such the best way, and it's just beautiful. And if you're a fan of reading for like the pleasure of reading, pick up Landmarks. And if you're a writer, pick up Landmarks. You will become a better writer and a better reader by reading this book. I believe that. I believe that fully. That book I read a couple chapters of every night. Or not every night, but when I do, I read a couple chapters at a time. So then we have another self-help book. I'm probably going to end up unhauling this. I got it because I was interested, but not that interested after I started reading it. And that's The Finnish Way by Katja Panzar. It's just like Finnish lifestyle. I really wanted to like it, but I got like a chapter and a half in and I was like, I don't think this is for me. So that probably will be unhauled, but I did want to include it in the collection because it's still technically here. There's another book that I wasn't sure if it... I guess it's a series of essays, so it is nonfiction. This is Ross Gay's The Book of Delights. They're really short essays on things that bring joy, mostly, but also not necessarily. They're like small delights. I actually had the pleasure to hear Ross Gay speak. He came to my school, and he came right after this came out, so he talked about it a lot, and the way he talked about it made me really interested in it. Definitely a springtime, summertime read. I've read about a quarter of it. A little more. I've read about a third of it. But you definitely don't have to sit down and read them all. So I think I'll pick it up again when it gets a little warmer out. This is probably the most boring book I have on the list. This is just like the Moon Guide to Coastal Maine because I want to visit Portland. I did make notes and highlights. Here we go. Look at all these notes. I would like to visit. Oh, even more notes. It's probably pushing that off for a bit though. It's probably not going to happen as soon as I was hoping it would. But I will get out there. I will get to you, Maine. Now we're kind of getting down to the final four. Not kind of. We're getting down to the final four. So, then we have two Nancy Mitfords. I have the Madame de Pompadour biography, which I read a couple months ago now. Maybe just a month ago. I loved this. It was great. I don't remember if I gave it 4 or 5 stars, but I think it was 4 stars. I strongly recommend this. Definitely sheds a lot of light on Madame de Pompadour, who's the most famous mistress of Louis XV, I think. 15th, yeah. I always just forget which one. And then another, because I was like, I have to pick up another one because I can't wait. I picked up Voltaire in Love, which chronologically I think is the second one Nancy Mitford wrote. It's about Voltaire. I also just recently got Candide, so I'll probably read those back to back. Then we have The Living Mountain by Nan Shepherd. This is one of the Canons books, which I love these designs. It's got a shiny spine, which I also love. This is a piece of nature writing that is actually talked up quite a bit in Landmarks, which is why I found out about it. It is about the Cairngorms, which are a mountain range in Scotland. And Nan Shepherd spent sort of her life sort of living among these mountains and exploring them and getting to know them intimately. And I cannot wait to read this. This is definitely going to happen soon. Okay, it's going to be soon. And then finally, the last nonfiction book I have today is Rebecca Solnit's A Field Guide to Getting Lost. I think this deals a lot with grief and also with how the mind works. I think. This might be above my head, but I still really want to read it. It just sounded interesting in a lot of ways. It says it combines memoir, history, and philosophy. So, might be a good gateway into philosophy because I'm kind of curious about philosophy lately. So, this really might be my best gateway into that. So yes, that's the last one. That is my nonfiction collection. Isn't it big? A lot bigger than I thought it was until I started prepping for this video. But I actually, besides that one that I said, or those two that I said I would probably give away, I'm really excited for all these books. I love all these books. I'm really pleased with myself for starting to move in the direction of reading some nonfiction. It's never going to take up the bulk of my reading diet, but I think it's good to experiment, to read nonfiction, to sort of expand my knowledge in that direction, because I don't do that a lot. I think all these are gonna be great. I'm really excited. I'm really excited for all of these. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I will see you guys soon. If you're somewhere cold, I hope you're staying warm. If you're somewhere warm, I hope you're staying comfortable. And most of all, I hope you're reading a great book. I will see you guys next time. Bye.